This is the England reading part 2, the video cut out. I'm only just learning how to use, equipment like this. So I know that the camera is shaky, but, I'm embracing technology, which is a good thing for me. And I'll continue with this reading. When I say England, I mean Great Britain. I'll just clarify that. That's Wales and Scotland as well. And even Ireland, even though they're not in the same group, I feel that this also has relevance for Ireland. So that area of the ocean anyway, the Great British area. Demeter is the mother energy, so she's to do with natural law, natural wisdom, herbal law, natural medicines. So a lot of women who were natural healers were often criticized and persecuted for being witches, which they weren't. They were just women that lived in harmony with nature and utilized the loving essence of plants as in terms of tinctures and teas and the natural healing ability of plants as medicine, and they were persecuted for it. So this country has a lot of natural wisdom in its plants and in its nature that can assist in today's medicines and today's modern medicines. So there's a lot of natural history here that is yet untapped, that we don't know about it because of the history of being persecuted for what you do know. A lot of that knowledge isn't talked about. It isn't talked about in families where when resources were scarce during the war perhaps, or during depressions, where people used natural medicines instead of buying things or going to the pharmacist. They utilized their knowledge and the knowledge that was passed down in family trees to treat things. So I'm feeling that there's that reconnection to the earth happening in a groundswell in England or Great Britain, and people going back to the earth, going back to natural remedies, going back to folklore and learning and researching about the rich resources that they do have. Now, Demeter is the mother, so that's all about feminine energy. It's all about healing. It's all about getting back to the earth. So there's like perhaps a revolution with food as well. Growing organically, I know it's a cliche, but Prince Charles is really into that. But maybe the fact that he's into that is bringing more information to the everyday person about organics and the importance of growing your own food and knowing where your food comes from, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm feeling that there's a lot of healing feminine energy being born out of that area of the world, and that's very healing at this point. So the Druid energy as well, there's a lot of hot spots in England, and also it's no coincidence that the crop circles pop up in those areas as well. So there's a very magnetic energy there. So people are going to be activated very highly, I think, when you live in that area. And that couples with the destiny. So it's your destiny to be activated by the divine feminine. And it's your destiny to relearn what you already know, I guess. It's about remembering, perhaps, and also documenting and teaching lots of people about herbs and about natural products. I also think that the regeneration of land and forest is going to happen on a big scale, keeping wilderness areas pristine, I think. Yes. I'm just getting something about beer. The crop hops, which is made for beer. I mean, they make beer out of hops. So I'm wondering if that's going to be an industry that's going to thrive and it's going to take off, like microbreweries or beer that's good for you in some ways. I don't know why it would be good for you, but it is. And I'm getting that there's been a long history of beer and that there is healing properties in hops. So, yeah, maybe there will be some kind of revolution in microbrewing in England. Perseus. courage. You also notice that Medusa is on this card. So Perseus was a very brave, courageous male energy. His wife was Medusa, so he was married to somebody that was quite ruthless, quite didn't have a lot of feminine energy, to be honest. She's not a feminine goddess, she's a dark goddess. She's somebody that turned people to pillars of salt. So she just looked at them and was ruthless and uncaring. So Perseus battled courageous quest for years and years and years, and I'm getting that there's a male-female interplay with the culture of people that come from England. Like the women have been dominating in a masculine way for a very long time, and I think that the masculine is going to be balanced with the feminine. So you need to have courage. You need to really be courageous and call upon your inner warrior or your inner warrioress in order to get through some of the challenges that are coming. There's also a bit of a karmic element here. Karma can be transformed, and you transform it through doing the opposite of what you're experiencing. So if you're experiencing lack and you're experiencing difficulties with finances, then give. So I'm getting that there's a freeing of energy there, and I think the transformation of all the dark energy that has happened in the history of England. There's been a lot of without judgment, just observation. There's a lot of cultures that have been influenced by England and being invaded, and I have to say Australian Aborigines have experienced this, and I guess other countries and cultures, islands all around the world that have been invaded by the English. India, for instance. So there's a lot of dark energy. This is Medusa, is dark energy. So transform that karmic past and do good now. Don't try and control, don't try to dictate, don't try and take over the world. That obviously didn't work. It didn't work in the past and it won't work now. So what we need to do is balance the karma and do some positive things, because this is all about control, it's all about manipulation. And so that might have been the case in the past, but now, where we're coming from, it's all about transforming that, and it's all about balancing out the karma that has been created by this nation. So I hope that makes sense. It's I think there's going to be a balance of karma because of the natural world. What you need to focus on is balancing natural areas in England that have been depleted by pollution or been depleted by deforestation. I think by regrowing plants and going back to a simpler way of life would be very balancing and harmonious for people that live in that area. So I think that there's a grassroots revolution happening in greening the country, and perhaps developing medicines from the natural vegetation and crops that you do have.